for questions and answers. And this day is all about you, because I know everything in this presentation, and so does Frank. So this is not for our benefit, it's for yours. So make sure that you get all your questions answered, and that you learn as much as you can by being together today. I want to thank the PTSA for providing the snacks and the drinks in the back. That's one way that the PTSA supports our school. A lot of our events, they provide nourishment. So thank you again to all the parents who have provided that. It's very important that you check your contact information at the table. I know a lot of you did that on your way in. Every Sunday, the PTSA sends out a newsletter via email. And that has a lot of information about the school and upcoming events and interesting information and requests that we have as a school and how you can help out. And if you don't get those newsletters, you're going to be totally out of the loop. So make sure you check your contact information. And the last thing is you saw our students in the hallway selling ICS gear. We do that for a couple of reasons, so that you can get excited and decked out like the ICS students are. And the money that they're raising goes to our clubs so that they can compete. And if you saw some of the slideshow, our kids tend to compete and win, and we like that. Let's jump in. You're in our brand new building, and you were here for Info Night. We're still getting to know the building. It was a 3-year plan, 3-year project, 2 years of planning, and then 1 year of construction. And then this year, we moved in. We're still kind of getting used to our new space. But this is exciting. So you're the first class to have the new student orientation in the new building. Because last year it was in the old building because we weren't even moving in. So you're the first. Okay, let's start with some nuts and bolts. The bell schedule. This is not new. This is not unchanged. I told you at information night, if you want to see something funny, come here at 7:29 in the morning and you'll see those last couple cars pulling up and kids jumping out of the car with sometimes not even their shoes on, sprinting into the school because the last thing they're going to be is late. We give kids a 5-minute passing period between classes. They don't need it. They need 2 minutes. I don't know why they don't take all 5 minutes, but they're in the next class within 2 minutes, maybe 3, even though they get 5, because the mindset in this building is we're going to maximize every minute and we're not going to be late. So that is for you also. So school starts at 7:30 for pretty much everybody. That's earlier than your school now. So that's a shift. Okay? I didn't say you had to be awake in class, you just had to be there on time. It's an adjustment. 7:30 is the start. Okay? Wednesday you'll see we're out at noon. Okay, so that's our early release. Every school in the district gets out early on Wednesdays. We do as well. 12 o'clock is our time. There's lunch every day. Okay, Wednesday it says it's optional because you can leave at 12 o'clock. School's done at 12 o'clock. If you want to, you can stay and eat until 12:30, no problem, but you don't have to. Okay. All right, let's move on. What classes do you get to take? Some kids think, what classes do I have to take? Well, we like to say it as, what classes do you get to take? Here they are. Here are your 6 classes for next year. Humanities, International Studies, Art, Fitness and Technology. You might hear people call that PE. It is kind of PE, but it's much more in depth than PE. And there's a technology component and science and math. Those will be your 6 classes. And you will likely have 6 different teachers, so that's another big shift from what you've got now. Most elementary students have 1 teacher. You might have what they call a specialist for PE, or art, or music, for a couple hours a week on the side. But for the most part, you've got 1 teacher, 1 set of expectations, 1 set of rules and guidelines and procedures in the class. So a big adjustment your students are going to be making is 6 different teachers. And they're not all the same, okay? We have the same rules school-wide, but each teacher kind of has their own little kind of set of procedures for the classrooms. They're not all the same, so that's a big learning curve for your student to adjust to, okay? All right. What does it say in the yellow box? What does it say in the yellow box? you get an A. All classes are chosen for you until the 11th grade. So these are your 6th grade classes that you get to take. Here are the classes for every year. I know this may seem like a lot, but I'm going to try to break it down for you. If you look at 6th grade along the top, those are the 6 classes that I just told you. And then look at 7th grade. Humanities, IS, Art, Environmental Biology, 7th grade Math. And then you start Spanish. So Spanish starts in 7th grade. And if you look down this last column, there's 4 years of Spanish that you get to take. 4 years of Spanish that you get to take. And let me remind you why you get to take 4 years of Spanish. At ICS, we believe that it's important for you to be able to immerse yourself in other countries, in other cultures, by speaking another language. And in order for you to really be able to communicate with another culture and appreciate what they're about, and to be able to communicate with them, especially when you're in that country, you need to be fluent. And in order to be fluent, it takes 4 years. So we like to say you have this wonderful opportunity to take 4 years of Spanish. I guarantee you there's a kid in the audience who just heard, I have to take 4 years of Spanish. That's true too. You have to take it, but we hope you hear, I get to take it. We had a choice between being able to offer 2 years of Spanish and 2 years of another language. And we chose, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do 4 years of Spanish. Because we'd rather you be fluent in one language than know a couple cute words in 2 languages. Doesn't do much. Okay. You'll see humanities. That's a really cool, neat way of saying English. Every year. IS, International Studies. You might also know that as history. Okay? Every year. Now, look at art. Art is a huge part of this school. What a neat opportunity that you get to take 6 years of art. Okay? On the tour, we're going to show you some of the art that they're doing in school now, some of the projects that they've finished. Art is a huge part of the school. We have what we call the block. And the block is the first 3 subjects, humanities, IS, and art. What it means is, imagine this. When your kid's in 9th grade, in International Studies class, they're going to be learning about the ancient Greeks. And then, in humanities, they're going to be reading the Odyssey. And then, in art, they're going to be making Greek pots. I'll show you some of the Greek pots. Did you make a Greek pot yet? Not yet. So that's the block, is you have one event, the Greeks, and then you hit it from the humanities, international studies, and art lens. Okay? Science, you can see the pathway, and then math, that's the pathway. We do have a math placement test. You will take it the first week of school. And for the 6th grade, I think everybody takes the 6th grade math. The class you can jump over is actually algebra. You don't jump over initially, you jump over algebra. But we're still working on that policy, so don't memorize that. I know you're videotaping me. Don't memorize that. You'll find out the first week of school how the math placement works, but we do a math placement test because we do understand that kids are coming in at different levels. That's the only class that we have a placement test for. So there's a lot of yellow there, right? And what does it say about the yellow classes? They're all required. So you know what classes you're going to take all the way through 10th grade, and then finally in 11th grade you get what we call a choice. You get a choice. Why do we do that? The answer. Why do we do that? Someone's phoning in the answer. We know what classes best prepare students for secondary education, college. We also know what classes you have to take to graduate. So what we do is we force you to take the classes that are best for you. That way you don't have to worry about picking the wrong classes, because you don't get to choose. That's the way we think about it. Part of your homework for today is if you're hearing things and you're like, that doesn't feel right. you can still opt out and we can still let somebody else in. Okay? Because part of your homework today is to make sure this is a good fit for you. This is not going to change. Okay? So you got to make sure that this works for you. Electives, we have all kinds of electives. Here's a select menu, but we do update it and change it as we go. Any questions about this? Because this is kind of big and heavy. You didn't see this at InfoNet. Oh man, what's your question?
So, I know that at least more than one person might be coming in from the Quest program, and if they're in the math, in the case of math, in 6th grade, they'll have already done it, so will there, if somebody's already done that course, then will there be an option just to jump ahead to 7th grade?
He's asking, just to make sure everyone can hear, that there might be students who have already learned some of the math that you're going to get in 6th grade. The answer is you're going to be getting new math. Whether you're in the next class, that's probably not going to happen, but the teacher will either give you something different than what everyone else is doing, or she'll move the class faster if she can. Okay? Also know, you've probably heard of the Common Core standards, which basically means math moved up a year. So the old 6th grade math is now 5th grade math. Right? The old 7th grade math is now 6th grade math. So you might be thinking, oh, the old 6th grade math, I got that. Well, that's now 5th grade math. Okay? So there's that adjustment. Other questions about this slide? Yep.
In terms of science, I know there's equal for each grade. Does that mean that, say, chemistry and physics are not touched at all at 7th and 8th grade? Or is it touched in some way?
Introductory to science touches everything, and then biology builds on that, earth science builds on that. I'd say they're lightly linked, but physics and chemistry come on strong in 9th and 10th. And then biology links back, and then you can see the electives all linked back, the science electives. The science program here is extremely strong.
So I noticed PE and technology is built in 6th grade, but not 15th.
Yeah, so we feel, the question is, PE doesn't continue, and that's right. The challenge is kids can only take 6 classes, right? And Spanish is a key part of our program. So the other question was, what actually do we do with the 6th grade? Should we start Spanish earlier? And the staff voted no, including the Spanish teachers, you should know that, voted no, don't start Spanish earlier, even though there is a lot of research that the earlier you start a language is helpful. We were worried about the top end and kids that are continuing Spanish, especially in college. We didn't want that gap to be too far. Okay, so this is where we landed. PE and fitness in general is extremely important. It's important for everybody in the room, kids and adults alike. And so we know that 6th graders need to run around. And so we provide that opportunity. There are intramural sports for the older grades. Our field is nice and beautiful now that the grass has grown in. You're also lucky because the field, we can't use it yet until September. So when you get back here in September, the field will be up and running, and we will be all over it all the time, all kids, all grades. I'll take one more question and we'll move on.
Just a general question. Are we going to be getting this deck? I don't know how much I should be writing down. Or
I'll make sure that this is available to you. This is a Prezi, so I'll email you the link. But this is also on the ICS website. If you haven't already, you should read the curriculum guide. And if you've read it already, great, read it again, and then read it again. Yeah. All this will be made available to you. Okay, so how do you do well at ICS? There are 4 main study strategies. 1, use the library, please, and we'll visit the library. It's beautiful, so you'll want to use it. It's open before school and after school and lunch. Okay, every day. Use the library, use the library. Office hours. Every teacher has office hours a couple times a week. It's on the website, so you can look up a teacher and see when they're available. That's the next stop. If you're having trouble in the class, go see the teacher. They're the #1 person that can help. Go to office hours, go to office hours. But what if I'm afraid? Go anyway and bring a friend. Okay? But I went one time and my teacher, there were like 4 other kids and they didn't even get to me. Great, make an appointment. So the 9 times you hear an excuse from your kid, give them a 10th solution. Okay? Office hours. Study with your friends. It always amazes me. And current parents, you've heard me say this. So if you go back to the course deck, every kid's taking the same classes, right? So if you're taking the same classes, you have the same assignments, right? And if you have the same assignments, then you have the same tests, right, as every other sixth grader. So if you're stuck and you're confused and you're having a bumpy moment, why are you studying by yourself when every one of your friends has the same test the next day? It's weird. I don't know. They do. The earlier you study with your friends and you develop what are called study groups, the easier life will be anywhere, but definitely at this school. Okay? Study groups, what happens is when kids get to the 10th grade, the 11th grade here, they form study groups out of survival, because that's what it takes to stick together and make it. But the earlier you get better at study groups, it'll help. In elementary school, you have a cart of laptops, right? It's called a 3-to-1 ratio, so there's a couple carts in your building so that there's a laptop for every 3 kids. At ICS, every single one of you will get a laptop by the first week of school, and it's yours for the year, and you give it back in June, just like a textbook. So learn how to type. Because a lot of classes, you'll be typing your notes, okay? Or you'll be typing your essays, learning how to type well. So those are 4 strategies to start with. Questions on those? My friend in the purple. Stretching? Okay. My friend in the red. Can we bring our own devices? No. The answer is no. That's a district answer, not my answer, but I'm part of the district, so the answer is no. There are what we call in-class essays. And those you do have to handwrite. So you're not able to type every essay, but you will type a lot of essays. Your question? Other question? Yeah.
One quick question. What's the hours for open before hours?
The library is open at 6:30 in the morning and it's closed at 3. So an hour before school and an hour after school. Only make your kid come at 6:30 in the morning if they're early risers. Some kids, they love it, and some it's tough. All right, we're moving on. So what about student support? What do we have in place for you? Some cool, neat things. We have camp. We have camp every year. It's the first week of school. And camp is for 6, 7, 8, and 9, all together. So the 6th grade goes to the same camp as the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. Remind me, Mr. Elliott, where they go? Camp Sispis, which is near the base of Mount Rainier. And Mr. Elliott, everybody, is an extremely important part of our school. Thank you for coming, Mr. Elliott.
Thank you.
Mr. Elliott is here. Hey, that's just terrible. Mr. Elliott. Mr. Elliott is here today because he runs all the technology, especially our new technology in here, so he came to be tech support for me, but he's also one of the international studies teachers, so you'll have him maybe in 7th grade, maybe in 10th grade. Right? He also runs a couple of our clubs, and an important part of our school, and he's running camp, which is why I asked him that question. So even though Mr. Elliott runs camp, he's in charge of camp, the people who actually really run the camp are the 11th and 12th graders, right? So the 11th and 12th graders run the camp, 6, 7, 8, and 9 go to camp, okay? Everybody's expected to go to camp. It's 3 days, 2 nights. It's the Wednesday through Friday of the first week of school. A nice bus pulls up. Everybody gets in with all your stuff, and you zoom off, and I see you a couple days later. Everybody goes to camp. And then we have STAMP. STAMP stands for Student Taught Academic Mentoring Program. So every one of you is going to get a mentor, okay? Every 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grader gets a mentor. Who are the mentors? The 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, right? So the older students look out for the younger students. So if you were worried at all that your kid is going to be the smallest, youngest, littlest, youngest, whatever, in the building, they will be, but there's going to be 400 other students looking out for them. So don't worry. Not only do they look out for them, they are officially assigned to look out for them. So don't worry. You'll know who your mentor is by October. You'll know who your mentor is. Okay? And then we have the Student Study Center, and that is our tutoring program. Okay? So not only is the library open before school, lunchtime, and after school, there's tutors in there who are ready and waiting and willing to help you in any subject. Okay? So if you're struggling in any assignment, or any test coming up and you're kind of needing a little extra help, go to the library, just drop in, right? And there'll be tutors that are waiting to help you. Well, how are these tutors picked? They're handpicked. They're handpicked by the teachers, and not only that, they're trained by the teachers on how to tutor. It's an actual class for those kids. So they get credit, they get a grade. Your kid gets free help. Okay? So there's another way that we help you. So there's 3 support systems: Camp Stamp and the Student Study Center. Transportation. Okay, this is a choice school, so this is important. There's no guaranteed buses. This year we have 3 buses. We used to have 2, because I sometimes beg and plead. I have no shame. That's okay, so I got a 3rd bus. Next year we might have 3, we might have 4, we might have none. I don't know. So don't count on the bus. But here's how the buses work. They so far have only come from Redmond, Sammamish Plateau area. There's no bus from Juanita, Kirkland. It's a lottery, but you're like, I just did the lottery to get in. It's been a lottery, so they say if you want the bus, you need to apply by this date, and you apply, and there's however many spots on the bus, maybe 50, and if there's more than 50, then they run a lottery to see who gets a seat on the bus. And then if you're lucky to get a seat on the bus, then you have the opportunity to pay, I think, $350 or something for that seat on the bus. This is not a perfect system, but it is the system, so you should expect some kind of communication from the district via email or snail mail towards June, and if you're interested in the bus, that's how it works. But don't count on the bus. So if you're like, the only way I get to school is the bus, you might be in a jam, okay? I don't know. The question was, will the 3rd bus stay Redmond or maybe be Kirkland? This doesn't run through me. It runs through the district office. We've had lots of requests from Kirkland and Juanita, and we haven't got the bus there yet. Right. Every year. That's the other part, that you might be on the bus this year, that doesn't mean you're on the bus next year. You got to be lucky in the bus lottery every time. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Inglewood Middle School is one of the pickups. I don't have that quite memorized. Okay, let's move on. So what do we do about it? Carpools. Nothing makes me happier than watching a car pull up in the morning and like 9 kids get out of it. Okay. It makes a lot of people happy. What you need to know is traffic in this part of town is not the neighbor's favorite thing. And so the fewest cars as possible makes them happy, and we want them to be happy. Also, it's a way to save gas, so if you live near another student, carpool with them, then you don't have to drive every day. Okay? But this is, of course, extra important for the people that don't get on the bus. Okay. So carpools and the bus, that's the transportation plan. It is what it is. Okay? All right, so parking, so how does it work? So here is our map. And so you park in the visitors ICS staff lot, that's the main lot out here. These are the 12th graders. Yes, they do drive, so be careful. There are students driving to school. 12th grade, the 11th grade, they park on the other side. And then as you know, community school and elementary school shares our building. They're under the library, so they're in the square, and they have their own parking lot. For the buses, the kids that are on the bus, they get off on this side. So that's nice that the main parking lot is on the other side than the buses. So how do I drop off my kid? You come in on 111th, follow the yellow arrows. The yellow arrows are not really there, so you have to remember them. Okay? And then you come in, and you pull all the way to that stop sign. An amazing phenomenon happens when a parent drives into the parking lot. They forget that there's 100 cars behind them, right? And then they stop somewhere in the middle, and they let their kid out, instead of pulling all the way up, which means there's tons of cars on the street, and you can't drop your kid off on the street. You have to, it's not safe, so you have to come all the way in. So pull all the way to the stop sign, and then you go out, and then when you go out, you can go straight, you can turn left and go any direction you want. Okay? So that's how you drop your kid off, straightforward. We got actually really good at this. So if you do it right, it's easy, it's smooth, and it's safe. If you you don't, you're going to hear from me because you're doing something that's causing things to be unsafe. And that's the number one thing I care about. The last thing is, of course, when you're visiting, just pull straight in and you can park on either side. There are signs that say staff on one side and visitors on the other side. The staff doesn't even like their side, so they park wherever they want, so you can park wherever you want also. Okay? But park there, don't park in the kids' lot because the kids have passes and they've paid for their parking spot. So don't park where the 12-graders park. Park here. Okay, is that a hint? You can only come from 111. Don't come up 112 because then you're like cutting a line. Right? So that's when you're coming at peak time. If you're coming for like an 11 o'clock meeting, you're the only one coming, you can come on 112. But if you're coming in the normal morning or afternoon peak time, basically we're telling you to get in line. And that's how the line performs. Was there a hand, Mr. Oh, good. Okay, here's the biggest thing. If you hear one thing today, hear more than one thing today. But if you only hear one thing today, it's this right here. Parking on the streets is not allowed, period. Parking on the streets is not allowed, period. I could do a whole presentation on why that is, but I'll cut it real short. When the district put this school here, they made some agreements with the neighborhood. You see, we're in a